Blake, pick a man, bring your kit.
The movie is about two men who are tasked with delivering a message across no man's land and into German territory that would potentially save the lives of 1,600 men, including one of the men's brothers.
You have a brother in the 2nd Battalion.
Yes, sir.
They're walking into a trap. Your orders are to deliver a message, calling off tomorrow morning's attack.
And what happens to them in 2 hours of real time on the way. It's shot as one continuous shot. And it was inspired by stories my grandfather told me. And one particular story he told about carrying a message that was the germ of this movie. And we, myself and Krysty, the screenwriter here, took that idea and thought, well, what if that man kept going? And that man became two men, Schofield and Blake. That's how we came up with the idea.
We wanted to tell a story that felt immersive. So choosing to do it over one day, to do it in real time, it strips away all the artifice of cinema. It makes reality kind of what you're going to sit and watch. To get inside the mind of a British soldier in World War I, I did a huge amount of research. I read a lot of first-hand accounts. I went to France, I went to the Imperial War Museum, I went to, pretty much every World War I museum I could find. I'm going The two characters are very different. Schofield, played by the lovely George MacKay, he's been out there a bit longer. He's seen action, he's been through the Somme. Whereas Blake, he's younger. He has come out to France, he is green. He's probably never been in really any action.
Blake's a very family-orientated person, and I think he admires his brother more than anybody. But yeah, as you say, definitely, Blake wanted to see some action, go on an adventure.
In terms of Schofield, his home and what his home means to him, and the chinks that you get of that, and how and why he can and can't talk about it in the way that he does, was essential for me to know. And then also his experience of war so far was another thing that has shaped his way of being.
I think that once I decided that the movie was going to be 2 hours of real time, it seemed like a natural thing to try to lock the audience together with the characters in a way that they couldn't escape. And I think even though we've shot it in one shot, I don't think Roger and I want particularly the audience to be thinking about what the camera's doing. We want them to be lost in the story. You might be unconsciously aware that there are no edits, but I don't think it's self-advertising. I hope it's not self-advertising in that way.
He didn't tell me about it, he just sent me the script. But on the front page it said this is envisioned as a single shot, real time. And it was a bit of a shock. But once reading the script, it's obvious what he was trying to achieve with it, with that idea,
The big difference is that I had to make judgments about rhythm and tempo and the momentum of the story without cutting. And that's something I do in the theatre all the time. So judging shape and when the movie could breathe in and breathe out, that's something that one does with stage productions. So that muscle I was using every day because there was no way out and there was no way of taking a line out, let alone a scene or moving the order of something, nothing like that. Everything had to be exactly as I would want it in the final movie.
It was a wonderful experience filming in this way. It was a real lesson in having a much more three-dimensional understanding of the filmmaking process as a whole, but then also our role within it. And it taught us both to have an inside-outside perspective on the scene.
Even though it's immersive for an audience member to watch the film, it was, in the doing of it, it was really immersive. We were the ones that was there. And everything you see on screen, we were going through, and the conditions were realistic. It never felt fake or acted, it felt very lived.
We couldn't shoot in sun and we couldn't shoot in rain. We needed cloud cover for the majority of the film until it went to night. And so we did spend a lot of time second guessing the weather. When the weather was bad, we rehearsed and perfected the shot. As soon as the cloud came over, we went, and sometimes that was a good thing because it kind of adrenalized everybody, and we knew we had a limited window of time in which we could get the shot.
I had 4 different apps on set I would look at to see the radar of when the clouds were coming in, and I spent a lot of time looking at the sky. Yeah.
I think it's a good time anytime for a story, about the human experience of war. I think specifically, even though you don't need to know anything about the First World War to see this movie, it is now over 100 years since the war ended, and it was a war that changed the world, changed the shape of the world, changed the shape of Europe. The boundaries were redrawn. It was the first modern war. It started with horses and carts and ended with tanks and machine guns and weapons of mass destruction. I wouldn't say that I made it to teach an audience a lesson. It's an experience. It's a big, immersive movie, and you need to know nothing to step into the world.